Hey, we're back. Mini, son of Monsterpalooza. I just want to thank my really special guest, Dana Gould, for being here. That was such a great 45 minutes to an hour that we were here, and it went by like 5 minutes. I could have spent 2 hours more with him. So thank you, Dana. But my next guest, who I've worked with before many times, I have walked over to his house many times because he's only a few blocks away, is Mike PAPPA. Thank you, Mike, for being here. Thanks for stopping by the convention center booth here. I first met you, Mike, on Crimson Man. Mm-hmm. We got connected. You were directing your short, and talk about that a little bit.
Okay, yeah, it was a Kickstarter campaign that I raised money for back in 2016, and the sculptor actually who sculpted this mask contacted me and was asking. His name is Pepe Mora.
Pepe Mora, yeah.
And he was asking if I was looking for anyone to fabricate this, 6-foot robot. And
7 foot? 7.5 foot?
7 foot. Because it was quite ambitious. It's a short film, and he mentioned your name, and so he contacted you.
Right.
And then we had a conversation. This is when you didn't live in Burbank.
Right. No, I live in Woodland Hills. Yeah.
And you made this robot. Where this is.
So yeah, I'm gonna hold this up. Is it gonna fall?
There's sand in there.
No. That's from the shoot. So yeah, let me. How's that look, David?
Oh, you want to go to your camera?
Oh, to my camera. There we go.
So yeah, it was the Pepe sculpted it, and then Brian Haines made the eyes inside, but the servos are no longer in there. And then you painted and added the extra foam.
So yeah.
I guess you call that. I forget what you call that thing.
Well, this is like the cowl or whatever. That,
yeah.
So it was a huge suit.
Yeah.
And where can people, number one, where can they find the short? Is it online?
It's actually on Dust, which your guest mentioned yesterday.
Okay. Dust.
Yeah, it has 1.4 million views now.
Excellent. And it's called Crimson Man.
A Crimson Man, yes. And
a Crimson Man.
A Crimson Man.
A Crimson Man. I always forget A. I always just do Crimson Man.
Well, there's not that many Crimson Men, so...
Right. It would probably pop up regardless.
But yeah, so we that's the first time we worked together, and we became friends.
Yeah.
And then you moved to Burbank, and now we're closer.
Now we're closer.
Literally
friends.
closer.
In so many different ways. No, it's like Mike always like, hey, I got an idea for another short. Can I walk over? And it's like, come on over, which is really cool. We just walk over. And
both you and Alana are very gracious.
Yeah, no, it's fun. You just come over, sit in the shop, and whatever. But yeah, Crimson Man was so much fun to do, and that was like there was so much going on. I mean, back before I had left Legacy Effects and kind of tried to branch out on my own, I would take jobs like this because it was like, oh, those are really cool designs, and I really want to fabricate that, and I've got no time at all to do it.
Yeah, I mean, it was amazing that in the span of 3 weeks working nights and weekend that we were able to pull it off.
And actually, I think I did it in less because I was horrifically ill.
I remember.
And I was supposed to have more time, and for a full week, I had full-blown flu and just could not work. And so it tightened up my time. Mm-hmm. And I think I came to set that first day, and I'd done an all-nighter. Mm-hmm. And with my daughter, Mackenzie, came with me. We were both just kind of like zombies in this hallway. We were shooting in this crazy basement. Where was that?
That was in Culver City, right across from the Sony, I think it was.
Yeah. But you found this great location, just pipes and in this basement, this weird thing, and then we've got this giant mechanical beast that we have to try to.
Yeah, that was very.
All made out of L200 and.
Right. I mean, I remember you literally texting me at 3 a.m. like, I finished this paint, and I'm just kind of like, okay.
No, yeah, he's texting me all night long because we hadn't known each other all that long at that time, and Mike might be going, I gave this guy several $1,000s to actually build this thing, and you're probably sitting home sweating, going, am I going to have a creature in the morning?
Yeah. It's the many things you have to worry about being a director, so it's just kind of like, there's nothing I could do at that point. It's just like.
Well, and that's the problem when you're doing a small film like that, is that you are the director, you are the producer, you're the associate producer, you're the second AD, you're all that stuff, because normally it would be like, if you're the director on some big feature, something like that, I'm going to bed. I don't know whether the creature's done or not. I thought it was finished a week ago. It's just going to show up in the morning, and there it is. And that's what happened. We showed up in the morning, and there it was.
There it was.
Because that's what you do. It's like no matter what, hell or high water, you're going to finish this because you've been paid to finish it, and it has to be on set. But yeah, I showed up, strapped it all to my truck, and
here's another little piece.
A little piece over here.
This was a shoulder piece. That I have it all in my garage. It looks very sad right now because it's just in clumps of.
No, and this is all L200. So this is a like EVA foam, and we had to make this. Typically, if we were going to make this for a huge budget film, it might be vacuum formed plastic or fiberglass pieces or maybe some urethane pieces and things like that. But I mean, foam fabrication, which is what I do, this can be super lightweight and very inexpensive. It ends up more times than not when you're working on a small film with a smaller budget. It's the person's time is going to cost more than the material sometimes. But you can get such great results with it. I always like to hold up these two pieces. So this is the prototype piece that I made for Mike, and I've held on to this. So that's the prototype piece with all the bumpy rust and all that stuff, but it's just L200. And I did my paint test on it, and I think you liked it, just like texture-wise and the drips and kind of the oil and all those sort of things that I was putting onto it. And I was really proud of it. I really liked it. And then Mike goes, yeah, I don't like the shiny. It's like, I really like the shiny. Yeah, I like the shiny. And it's like, he's a director. He gets what he wants.
And it also was in the worst light possible.
And
it's like in Southern California.
I know you had taken it out like on a location scout and held it out in the sun, and so the sun's like glaring off of this.
Yeah.
But what the director says goes, man. It just. But it turned out well. I mean, we shot, and we put poor Dan, right?
Dan Clarkson, yes.
Dan Clarkson, who, how tall is he? Like 6'3", I think. 6'3"-ish.
Yeah.
So 6'3"-ish, and then with the creature suit on, or not creature. What is he? He's a automaton, like a robot.
He's a war robot.
A war robot. So I mean, but yeah, he's a kind of a thinking AI robot.
With
so
PTSD.
Yeah.
So.
And I mean, he was a trooper. We put him through the paces. I had made some interesting little stilts for him that worked fine when he didn't have a costume on.
Yeah.
And as soon as you put the costume on him, he's like, "Gah!" Like that. So unfortunately, you had on the cliffs of Malibu, we got, I think, 1 or 2 shots of him actually wearing the feet, and everything else you kind of had to frame up a little bit. So I'm sorry.
It's what you got to do.
There was a couple of cheats we had to do, and
it worked out okay.
It's another one of these gags because we've talked about this the past couple of days. I talk about my Lawnmower Man gag or something I've done for a commercial or something like that, and it is still to this day, it haunts me. It's like, if I were to build Red over again, how would I do it and just incorporate this or that? And so it's like, it's one of those things that I want to build again from the ground up. Because it's like, even then, I'd been working for professionally for so long, but it's kind of like, I want to take another crack at that.
Hopefully one day you will be able
exactly.
to.
Well, yeah,
that's the goal.
Well, and that's the thing too. If we have a bigger budget and all that kind of stuff, but on a small budget and tight times like that, it's hard. And that was truly like one person doing it. I mean, even at least, I'd worked on low budget and tight schedules at Legacy, but usually even with that, you're going to have 10 people touch it. So it's like, I'm not the only fabricator. I'm not the only sculptor.
Right.
We've got a mold department. We've got mechanics, and we're all doing that. I mean, even like, Pepe sculpted this head, and somebody else molded it, and Brian did the mechanics and the eyes. Really great light up and blinks and like that. But when it came to the fabrication, that was like 100% me.
Yeah.
I think Ilona helped me with one piece. It was like the harness, the support system inside. Yeah. But other than that, normally we would have a couple more fabricators helping out. It's like, okay, you do the legs, I'm going to do the arms, you do the torso, and
I just got lucky because
I got lucky. we were literally putting paint on it.
Yeah.
Hours before it went. I mean, luckily my truck bed was open, and we put one of those big cargo nets. So it dried on the way to Culver City.
I think the other thing that's fascinating about this whole, it was a learning curve for me too, to deal with how do you shoot an animatronic creature or
Right.
a robot while dealing.
It's a war robot, Mike.
This is true. How do you, like, I learned a lot from that. There was a lot of things where it's like, oh, I wish I'd gotten this take or this shot. And then plus we also had an 11-year-old boy who was its co-star. So,
Right.
and we're on location. So I was ambitious, but I felt like that's the only way to do this. You have to be ambitious. You have to reach, for the stars, I guess you could say.
Right. I mean, and that's your goal, is that you keep working towards, I'm a director. But I mean, what you're working towards a goal. You're a writer, you're a director, but you've been working in film for a while as a storyboard artist,
Well,
right?
before I did art department, production design, stuff like that. My background is actually, I went to school for film and animation, for traditional animation.
Okay.
So what I took from that was, being very prepared, the storyboards, animatics, and I still, to this day, even on all these projects here,
Right.
I still do that. I find that it allows me to, it's great for preparation, but it also allows everyone else to see what's going on.
Right.
And then you also sort of start to weed out, oh, that's going to be a problem, or that's going to take longer to do, and so then when you do get to set and you have all these boards, everyone can kind of see. I know it's cliche, everyone always says it, everyone sees the whole thing, and they.
It's preparation, and we talked a little bit to Alan Scott that first day, and maybe a little bit with Tom Woodruff, and Steve Johnson. People that run these big shops and these big shows come to us, and the hardest thing over these years have been pre-production. Has just gone down to like nothing. But coming in, I mean, even for your shorts, they're storyboarded. You have animatics. You have completed scripts.
I do.
I've worked. No.
Believe it or not.
No. It's not that. I'm not saying that.
I know what you meant, though.
But that's the thing, is like, I have worked on major, multi-million-dollar films that don't have completed scripts. But it's like, especially when you're working on a low budget, you have to have a completed script. You have to have, everything's got to be planned out, because I remember when we were shooting, what was the old installation that we were shooting in Long Beach, or was it Long Beach, or
it's in San Pedro? It's
San Pedro.
the MacArthur.
MacArthur Park, or
No, it's the old battery, MacArthur Battery or something. Fort
Right.
MacArthur Battery.
It was a World War II battery, right?
It was 1900, yeah.
1900s.
Yeah, and they shoot a lot of. They actually did like a Marvel whole shield thing there, or the Hydra.
Right.
But yeah,
the day we were shooting there, we were like, we got to wrap out of here. We got to wrap. And we were in a location 1 or 2 nights.
2 nights.
2 nights. And I think on that second night, it was like, we got to get out. We got to get out, because what was the TV show that was coming in right after us?
It was the one where they're
The
on
Last Ship.
The Last Ship. Yeah.
The Last Ship, which I love that show.
Yeah.
But the Last Ship was coming in. They liked that location too. It's a great location, and they were coming in, and it's like, we got to get out of here.
And it made the owner a lot more happier to deal with us, because he knew he was getting money. So, but yeah, I mean, it's I think that's the main thing I took from the animation, and then I went to continue your question.
Yeah.
I worked in a video game company as an art director in New York, and then I started taking more film art department jobs, production design, concept stuff, and then when I moved out here, I did a lot of work at.
No, is that where you're from? East Coast?
Yeah.
Okay.
I went to school in New York at SVA, School of Visual Arts.
Okay.
And then, but my dad was in the military, so the last place that we were stationed at was Virginia. So that's where they stayed. And then when I moved out here, I did a lot of work for AFI, because I knew some people there. And then a lot of those people that I met at AFI carried over to my little film friend group and worked on these projects, and vice versa. You would help them on their projects,
Right.
and then it's just like, now it's my turn.
Right. No, and that's we've hit on this a couple of times, where within this industry, everybody wants to help out. I was talking with Jeff Daniels last night, or Jeff Daniel Phillips. I make that mistake. I'm sorry, Jeff, if you're watching. Jeff Daniel Phillips. He's got this short that he's kind of working on, or feature, And he asked me, he said, "Do you have something like this?" And I was like, "No, I don't. Let me call around. I'm sure some shops might have something." And I said to Alona, "I bet you I could build something for him. I think I could do that."
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, when I hear from guys like you and, your next short that we worked on, and it's like, hey, what would it take to,
Says, I am watching.
I'm so sorry, Jeff Phillips. I said Jeff Daniels. I'm so sorry. Oh, I'm dead. Hey, okay, to stop things, Jeff Phillips also tricked me into wearing a mask yesterday, so that's how I get back at you. After Jeff left last night, he takes his mask off halfway through the thing, and I was like, "Oh, are we taking
it halfway? It was right in the beginning."
Oh, no. I think you should keep yours on. I find out after Jeff leaves, Alona said, "Oh no, he was perfectly fine with you keeping it on. He just wanted to see how long you would keep it on." And it was like, "Of course I kept it on because Jeff wanted me to. So that's what you get. I call you by the wrong name." Anyhow,
yeah.
But no, I mean it's that camaraderie. Mm-hmm. You want to help out. It's like, you're directing a film. I want to help you direct it. So if I go, I'm thinking about I want to direct this thing, and like that. But then Mike would, I'll do your storyboards for you,
yeah.
And then somebody else is working, and it's like, oh, I'll be your PA, and I'll do this for you, and it's always everybody's kind of hopping around and doing the job because everybody wants to direct.
Apparently.
Everybody wants to do exactly. But that's the thing is like everybody wants to have their foot just in, but help each other out. And I've never Dana talked about Greg Nicotero's first directing film, the Monster United Monster Talent Agency, which is a fantastic film. You guys go watch it. But I mean, everybody at K&B worked on it. I wasn't there at the time, so I didn't get to work on that. But and it's so much fun, and you want to help out your buddies.
Mm-hmm.
Let me do a makeup for you. Let me make a costume. Let me do some storyboards, and
it's the goal.
Yeah,
because otherwise you're just playing the game. And you have to start all over again every time.
Right.
It's like, oh, I don't know this person. Are they gonna flake out? Are they gonna help out? And then it kind of drains you. But
right.
It's the negative side of.
And that's why you keep pulling in those same people. I mean, like hopefully you were happy with the red.
I hated it.
Oh damn it! That you hated it so much you asked me to build another character
and
for
then
you.
Came onto the show. Just telling you, I'm holding that in for this whole time.
No, but it's like we did what we could, and there was so much more I wanted to do for Red. But then you went on to this project.
Yes.
Which is what's this project?
So this one we did last year. Can't believe it's been a year already.
It was November, wasn't it?
It was actually this.
No, it was this year.
Yeah, this past week. It was September of 2019.
Is when we shot that?
Yes. So, but then we did this in December. So this is
right.
This is a Goblin Mask. It's supposed to be a silhouette version of. I did the little. I don't know if you can see this, or if it's just.
Can I bring it in?
Yeah.
You can bring it.
Bring it in.
Are you on get? Yeah. There you go. Bring it down a little bit.
So
a little bit more. You're good. Good.
These are sketches that we did. We painted over the actress who was playing in it, and it's supposed to be the silhouette version of these goblins. So we made a whole. Well, you made a whole suit.
Right.
And then these eyes, I later composited the glow effect, so they look like they're more inky drawings in the actual final film.
I'll hold this guy up too. This was fun to build because honestly, this was like a super quick build. I mean, it really was. I think I threw this together in maybe like 4 or 5 days.
And this one's called Lower World.
Lower World. And
it's a supernatural horror film. There's no robots, but
there's
lots of goblins.
But there's lots of goblins, but we built one goblin.
Yeah, we built one goblin, and then I actually also I kind of rebuilt my entire room into my patio, and I made it kind of more German expressionism looking. And then we filmed because the actress who plays one of the parts also plays the goblin, so she's literally chasing herself in the final film, which is it's all about dealing with anxiety and sort of being cooped up in this apartment. So that was that. But
and this was really, like I said, this is really fun to build, and it's like it's some of these things that sometimes when you're given these limitations to do things, that's when you pump out some really fun work. Because the idea, like you said, it's a shadow. It was kind of just supposed to be like a creepy shadow type thing, and so it's like we find the right fabrics to use on it, and the post work that you did on it to create multiple goblins. I mean, how many goblins are in one shot?
Well, they sort of grew and grew, but I think the final shot there's about 10.
Yeah.
So and it was
And
all,
it's all Cali.
it's all Cali crocheted, yeah.
Because
And-
it's just one character, one costume, and then we shot multiple takes of her doing different things, peering in windows,
Yeah.
walking over things,
in the
climbing
rainy
up.
green screen.
In a very rainy green
The
screen
one day
room.
it was raining, it all poured into
It
the.
pouring down, but what a fun day.
But yeah, that was fun to work on again with you. So
Yeah.
yeah, and then what else did I talk about?
I don't know, and now you might start. I don't know if you want to do that, but going into a third film. But I mean, I've been following you too, and I want everybody to follow. Which Instagram do you want people to follow you at?
The Mike_Pappa.
Okay, and that's where you're going to see Mike's artwork.
Yeah, because the other one is just my husky and my wife.
Yeah, you and your dog and your wife, and it's
Go
like,
ahead.
Which is also totally worthwhile.
yeah, if you want to
Thank
see
you.
Mike and his dog and his wife, I mean,
Yeah.
they're very nice pictures. But I mean, Mike's artwork I love so much. It's so graphic, but he and I love a lot of the same films. I mean, we're Spielberg fans. It's just like, so when he was like, I love that. I need a copy of that. And Raiders of the Lost Ark and Close Encounters
Yeah.
and all this kind of stuff. So
Yeah, I don't know if you can see this, but I've
Bring it
been
in.
sort of a therapy during this COVID times. I'll sort of draw up these Spielberg shots and kind of make them in more of a
and that's Peter Coyote from E.T., right?
yeah, keys.
Keys.
I'll make it more like this comic book style and sort of play around with learning how to deal with different high contrast lights and shadows, and it's kind of a fun exercise. And not only is it's learning how to deal with light and paint with light, as they say, but it's also very
Now,
calming.
what medium are you working with? Do you start with a sketch, like a pencil to paper type sketch or anything like that?
I used to, but now I draw everything on my Surface Book.
Okay.
So everything is, and I have these brushes that are kind of inky, gritty kind of brushes. But I used to use actual ink,
What program are you using?
just Photoshop.
Photoshop. Okay.
Photoshop, and then for the other stuff, After Effects, and so I kind of, but for like Lower World, I inked all the backgrounds that we didn't actually shoot, inked those, and then I brought them back into the computer and I painted more color and highlights and bloom, and then I composited that into the film in After Effects, and then kind of gave it that sort of hopefully pulpy quality, because
Yeah.
that's everything I do is all, I love anything pulpy, whether it's horror or sci-fi.
Where can people see Lower World yet online?
There's the teasers on my Instagram or my Vimeo, but I haven't released the
Because you're waiting for some film
festivals, yeah.
festivals and things like that, and
But
they
I
don't
might
like
do
you.
it. I might release it on Halloween just for fun.
Oh, teaser, everybody! Maybe October 31.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, the festival stuff has been very strange this year. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's either virtual or they give your money back, or you
Right.
just don't get into it,
Or
which
you
is
just don't
also
get
very
in.
common.
Right. No,
But,
and I've posted pictures of what's his character's name? I mean, what is
It's
it?
just a goblin.
The goblin.
But they're supposed to be a metaphor for basically fear.
Right.
So they kind of break into.
Any advice for those considering film school or not to film school?
Well, I think it's all about film school is about who you meet there. So you kind of meet people that, like I was saying before, later will either be part of your little group. But there's also the other side where you can spend the same amount of money and just make these short films and learn that way. I think if you're really trying to find people to work with who are in the same industry, film school is good for that, but it's also very expensive. So
It's a great networking
Yeah,
type thing though
exactly.
too. I mean, because I when I was a kid, and you too, I'm sure, we made our own Super 8 films or video.
I didn't have a Super 8 though.
You didn't? I begged for my Super 8 camera. My
I had a
parents got it
JVC
for me.
camera.
Okay, well,
So-
yeah, I'm a little older than you.
Why did it fly?
Yeah, exactly.
Like I think in the 90s when my parents got a JVC camera, I started to do that. And then actually with Dan Clarkson, when I lived in England, when I met him, we did a remake of Star Wars.
Okay.
So that's what I started. I got the bug, I guess you could say. But
Right.
before that, I was really into like comic strip cartoons, like Garfield.
Okay.
And that's what I thought I was going to be.
Yeah.
And then I got into as soon as I got that camera, and I would just film everything and just play around with it. Make my brother, force him into do these little stupid movies that he hated. So
that's what we do to brothers.
You know, and you do all the same. As a lot of people else I heard saying on these different interviews, like you do the whole thing. You do the Lego stop motion. You burn things. You
blow stuff up.
I mean, what I was allowed to do. You know.
Oh, I did a lot of stuff I wasn't allowed to do. We would build creatures and characters and take them to specific. I remember going to the gun range a couple of times. And of course, our character had to get shot. And it's before we actually started making our own squibs. But I had buddies that had guns. And I mean, I had a few guns when I was a kid too. We had 22. So we would make dummies. And we would stand them up and they're like in their pose and blood bags in them. And we'd get the camera out there and then we'd start like that. And it's like the zombies getting shot. And I remember going to the shooting range the one time and the guys just kind of watching us walk by with a zombie and walking again like, what are you boys doing? And it's like we've got a 30-06 and a 20.
It's not the guns, it's the zombie.
It's the zombie. They weren't bothered by that. And we take that. It's like, everybody stop shooting for a second. We're going to put our zombie out here. And then set up a tripod with a Super 8 camera.
But was it worth it?
Oh, hell yeah. It's great. I mean, I haven't seen that footage in a really long time. Oh. And, you know, what I remember, and that's what I want to keep is my mind's eye, is that it was brilliant.
To be the theme of this whole thing is
it's brilliant.
Don't go back to the...
Don't go back to... It's like, you know, don't go back and watch The $6 Million Man. Just remember how great it was.
Right.
You know?
But and then I brought these little things because I think it was Bruce yesterday.
Bruce brought books.
He inspired me. And I was like, oh, I had some of those books, but I remember... as a kid, I really liked this.
David's giggling behind the monitor here because David Woodruff is a huge Batman fan.
And I even can see where I would draw on top of this. I can see all like the pencil marks all around it. Tracing and
just using it as a pad.
But this book was like so inspiring. It's got all these great drawings from Anton Furst, the production designer.
Right.
And then when Jurassic Park came out, I was all about the storyboards in the back. I don't know if you can see that. Like,
I don't know if I've got my other one.
These are frameable in my opinion.
Yeah. No, and that's one of my favorite books from when I was a kid. I'll have to pull it out later on. Is I had the illustrated screenplay of Raiders of the Lost Ark. Mm-hmm. And that was all the storyboards. Well, not all. I'm sure a very small fraction of the storyboards. So it was the screenplay and the storyboards. And I would go over the storyboards. And then when I started making films when I was a kid, all those storyboards, I remember tracing that out with like fine tip Sharpie and writing my scene numbers and all that kind of stuff. And I made my own storyboards, and you know, my mom would take them to where she worked and run them off and all that kind of stuff.
Photocopy them and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
how much time we got? We got
a few minutes.
A few minutes. So yeah, it goes quick. The time goes fast on Instagram. So, so you've got another project coming up.
Yes.
That your project that you want to try to get to while you were in COVID here.
Yeah.
Lockdown.
So this is I don't know. Again, I brought all these tiny pictures. I apologize.
Well, go onto Mike's Instagram, and you've got all this on your Instagram.
Yeah.
Right?
So this is I'm aiming to shoot this in mid to end November.
Okay.
And it's a very simple 6-minute sci-fi fantasy, one character. I just wanted to try something really fast, get it done, and not spend 6 months, a year on working on something. And I did that a little bit with Lower World. I kind of knocked down that time in between, because otherwise, other things come up, like life,
right,
COVID, unemployment.
No, please go check out Mike's work, and it's just I love the aesthetic of your work.
Thank you.
It's got this neat kind of comic booky, but there's sort of a heavy metal type, because I loved looking at heavy metal when I was a kid, and you would find it in there. It's just, I love your work, the aesthetic of your work. It's got such a rich quality to it, and that's what drew me originally to a Crimson Man project. It's like, oh, this is cool. This is the detail in there, the sketchiness of it is just beautiful.
Well, I hope just to end on this, I think that my goal was always to kind of create the illustrative quality that I can kind of do in here.
Yeah.
To bring it to live action.
And you bring it to the screen. I mean, with Lower World, it's there on screen.
Well, hopefully, more people will see that.
Excellent. All right, we're going to take another break, and we'll be right back. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.